mental attitude comes in high school. We meet each other. Okay, really try to step into this hypothetical. We meet each other in high school. We've never seen each other before. I don't even know like which high school you go to. It's a high school gathering in this room. So I meet you. What's the first thing we say? How are you? Then what do we say? Oh, I know. Okay, the answer is fine. What would be the next thing we would say?
Yeah, what school you went?
What school I went? Why does she want to know what school I went? It tells me where I'm from. If you say I went to Lelehua, oh, plantation family, gotcha. If you tell me when Kaiser, you live really close to Portlock, don't you? Right, that kind of stuff, right? So, what school are you from? I was at a recent conference with, well, this is when I was at the legislature. There's a gentleman by the name of Fred Trotter. Some of you might know him. He's in the days of the plantation. He's probably in his almost 90s now, Campbell Estate beneficiary. So now that Campbell Estate's dissolving, you guys have more land to sell. Isn't that wonderful? He shows up and he sees this, Fred Trotter's tall, skinny, old as the mountains, walks up to a short, skinny, older than the mountains person and says, "Hi, I'm Fred Trotter. What school you went?" This is 90 years ago. In Hawaii, we're going to make that connection right off the bat. We want to know really where you're from. We can do it without saying, "Hey, where are you from? You from the ghetto?" No, you just say, "What school you went?" What kind of secret is that, huh? But sometimes, but it's usually not the first question we ask. What's the first question we ask when we meet? What's your name? Because if I tell you, "Oh, my name is Keahi Renaud." "Oh, from the Punaluu Renaud, like my auntie's second cousin's stepbrother?" Right? We want to connect there too. Like Brother Dwight here, he said he went to St. Louis, the Crusaders. So the next thing you're going to ask him is, "Yeah, you play football." You play football. Right? But that is exactly what the third part is. Is what you do. Right? Tiger Woods, golf. Right? We put this in equal proportion. Tiger Woods, it's mostly hana. Right? Hana meaning to do. Hana meaning to what you do. Aina meaning land. Ohana, of course, being family. So here kind of is unusual. In this room, you guys have the kuleana, the responsibility of this. You move it, you shift it, you transfer it. It's forever. It will not go away. We might divide it and subdivide it, but it's not like cheese. It ain't ever going to get eaten. We just shift and move it. So your ability to do this will depend on how you do it. Where you do it will depend on what families you're working with. The question now is, which of these do we feel is most important? Which is most important? Ohana? Aina? Hana? They're talking louder outside than in this room right now. And somebody like me with ADHD, I can't screen that out. If you want to know what they're talking about, I've been listening the whole time I've been talking to them. I had a lot of doctors sometimes say, "Well, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is this and that and that." You have no idea what it is. Afterwards, if you want to, I'll tell you. But what is the most important? It's a guess. I'm not gonna can you with it. I'm sorry? Hana? Ohana. It all sounds the same. Aina, hana, ohana. How many say it is ohana? See, did you feel that warm, fuzzy feeling inside? Okay. How many say it's aina? West side, west side. Well, you guys are into the aina. I think the aina hands have just been all over the place, waving two hands, to try to cheat your vote. Hana? Okay, so this is how we'll go about it. Who do we know, like, I don't know, chief or whatever, something, who do we know that has manna that we do not question? That person has manna for, yeah. Who? Give me a name. Somebody's really up there who has manna. I mean, that's my picture of manna. Who can we use as an example out of history? That has manna. Everybody, if I said this name, everybody go, yeah, manna. That's definitely manna.
George Washington.
Think of it now. Okay, if I could spin my board around, I would. But I'm writing his name. It's fairly long. Right here. Kamehameha. Okay, I'll just write that. Is anybody question? This brother had some big manna, and he was big too. Anybody question like, nah, he's a wimp. I would have took him down with this little porgy piggy. All right, so let me ask you this. Kamehameha, big manna. What's his brother's name? I'm going to go over in this table. Hi. Kamehameha II was his highborn son. Kamehameha II was higher than Kamehameha himself. Kamehameha called him his cousin. Kamehameha's sons in the time of Kamehameha were gods by birth. Gods, literally. You thought Jesus was bad. Try to have like 2 Jesuses and a sister. God. No, his son was not his brother, even though that almost could happen sometimes. You should see some of these genealogies. Very impressive. Who was Kamehameha's brother? Leo is the name of the firstborn son, and if that is his brother, once again we get this really interesting circling here. Well, let's take a look. I'm just going to put, if I put K, that's about 90% of all Hawaiian names. Okay, so here, Kamehameha and his brother. Are they from the same family? Ah, okay, are they the same family? Were they from the same Aina? Oh, okay. Just put a check mark over there. That's obviously important. But why do we know Kamehameha and not the name of his brother? Because of his hana. It's because what he did we know his name. It is, in fact, his legacy. Kamehameha nor his brother decided where or which family they'd be born into. That would have been very impressive. Neither did they decide where the mother was going to give birth to them. They don't have that. This is a birthright. But Kamehameha, we know his name because of what he did. How he did it. Why he did it. It was his legacy. His brother's name, and he had several actually. It's Kaylee McGuffey. There'll be a quiz at the end of the day today. Take notes. Write it right on the tablecloth. It's okay, I said so. So in this particular circumstance, you will find your own legacy if you first understand it. When I work with a lot of kids that really they don't have an identity. Well, darn it, let's start with who you are. Right? And they all understand this. And this is just my idea, and it's really probably more complex and three-dimensional, but I haven't found a three-dimensional board, and I haven't thought it through that far anyway. But, you know, you might be born into the Kennedy family from Kennebunkport, Maine. But a lot of people are born there, and we don't know who they are. How we take what we have, our talents, as it says biblically, don't bury them, take them and multiply them. Multiply your bread, multiply your fish, multiply your talent, and you will multiply your manna. I say this primarily to Hawaiian communities because this is how we will stand stronger. Not by inflating a government system around us, but by building the Trojan horse within us that knocks down that doubt. Right? We repel that enemy assault through fire and close combat. Knock it out. Know you can do it. Know that people are behind you. The one thing that got me through college, engineering school, and then was to know my mom was right behind me in case I couldn't make my rent payment. Right? You can get your bank account down to a dime knowing if I can't get that rent payment, Mom, right? Never had to. But man, I would have way more gray hair if I didn't have Mom. I would have been freaking on how to make my rent payment with a dime in my pocket. Never had to though. The money came through faith and trust. Now, I'm feeling my Portuguese really erupting here. Well, let's go with one more idea. One more idea. At 10 o'clock at night, and you'll find these people that can draw beautifully. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, I tried to get my stand to go this tall, but it wouldn't. They wanted me to use the PowerPoint, but I can't reach that high. So, here we go. Okay, I know it looks just like the other picture I drew. Let me make sure it doesn't fall over. Okay, here we go. I should have drawn it ahead of time because in the Marine Corps we say proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Okay, this is not a Rorschach plot. Tell me what you see, right? How do you feel about it? Oh, look! It strokes my ego when you recognize my crappy plot. Okay, can anybody tell me what is the heaviest fruit in the edible fruit plant kingdom? Jabon. Jabon is a big grapefruit. I know a lot of fruit right off the back of my head. Watermelon would have been my choice. Coconut is 8 coconuts make the smallest watermelon I've ever seen, so probably not coconut. Pumpkin, I've seen some big ones, but they don't on average grow that big. We saw the 400-pounders on the news every Thanksgiving, every Halloween. But those are
stock. The whole stock.
Banana? That was why I wanted to mislead you. So, the heaviest fruit in the plant, edible. There's lots of big, heavy, and ugly and smelly fruit that we don't eat, is the jackfruit. If you don't know what it is, go to the swap meet. There's always somebody's booth there chopping up this, looks like an oversized, lychee-looking, bready, fruity thing. Big, you don't want it to fall on your toes. You couldn't buy a whole one, you couldn't eat it. Jackfruit. What is the second heaviest fruit in the plant kingdom? Watermelon? I knew somebody would say watermelon. It's the banana. This is where we go banana. That's because the banana fruit is actually that whole big bunch. Okay, trivia question. Which way do the bananas grow? Yeah, that's why I go like that, because it doesn't. It goes like this. Weird, huh? Trivia, see, trivia. We're all ready for this Jeopardy training. Jeopardy training. Now, do we have any biologists, trained biologists in the room, or ethnobotanists, or botanists, or things that, the parts of the class that I fell asleep in when I was in school? Can anybody tell me what family, plant family, this banana tree is going to come from?
Grass.
Did you say that, Mr. Crusader, look at that!
He stayed awake.
I almost busted a tear right there. There is hope for our private education and our public education. Okay, I'm going to remove this word. Burn it into your memory, okay? I'm going to write a little phrase here, and this will be, no quiz. I'll cut you some slack. I just gave a ton of final exams, and I just want you guys to know, it's really about empower yourself and know that together you will be way more fruitful than you would ever have been by yourself. It's about the team. It's about your brother and your sister. Protecting them, you will fruit. Thank you for your time.